Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Dave, and if you're not new, well, my name's still Dave. We're sitting in the backyard, and this is just a quick intro to a video we have coming up, and I wanted to touch on a couple things that are important. First of all, I want to thank everyone who in the last 2 weeks has subscribed new to the channel. We have had an absolute explosion of new subscribers. I 2 weeks ago had a video put out that I basically said I really would like to get from 250 to 500 subscribers by the end of the year, and we have added on 70 subscribers. Thank you all so much. I literally cannot tell you how appreciative I am and how much this means to me that people are watching the videos, finding usefulness in the channel, and interacting. And I would encourage you, and I ask you humbly, please, to continue to like, share, and subscribe, and to drive up the channel in the algorithm, and let YouTube know that other people could find this information useful. For those of you that have been with me before that, I also want to say a huge thank you, because it was your interactions, your comments, some of them really touching comments about that they find my videos useful, and it's really nice to hear, because that's why we're doing it. I'm not monetized. I don't have sponsors. I don't have anything as far as receiving any kind of money from this. It takes time. It takes equipment. It takes a lot of effort to come up with things and hopefully make them in an interesting format, in addition to then time for editing and all that afterwards. So if I sound a little thirsty, I don't know, or needy, but I truly appreciate all your comments, all your likes and shares, and I would humbly beseech you, hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons, and let the rest of YouTube know about what's going on here. So thank you. That's the business portion of the intro. Okay, so this video today is we're going to be up on the roof of the chicken coop and installing metal sheets, corrugated metal sheets, roofing, in order to weatherproof it. And I need to touch on several things that I did not touch on in the video quickly. Number one, if you are not familiar with being on ladders, being on roofs, if you've never done this sort of work before, if you don't know the rules for safe ladder use, or if you have any sort of medical condition that would preclude you or be very unsafe for you to be on a roof, do me a favor. Don't be laying there on the ground and look up at the EMS and say, "But I saw Dave do it." Don't get on the roof. Don't do it. If you need to have jobs like this done, there is a time and a place to hire someone to do a job for you. I'm no expert in working on roofs and ladders. However, I have done it enough that I am fairly comfortable, and I do understand what needs to be done and not done. So please, if you haven't done it before and you're not comfortable, or you have a medical condition, don't do it. The second point, and this one is just as important. This is whether you're on the ground or you're in the air. Anytime you're handling metal corrugated sheets, I didn't specifically say this either in the video, but I do have them out laying around, I think, in the video. You probably see them. Always make sure you're wearing heavy safety gloves. I do not mean those cheap brown cotton work gloves that you find in the 4-foot hardware section of your grocery store. A sheet of metal, if it slips in your hand and your hand's right, like gripping the edge, a sheet of corrugated metal like that can cut right through a pair of cotton gloves. Make sure you have leather or some sort of synthetic material that is resistant to cutting, puncturing, that sort of thing, and that you're wearing them at all times. Every time I touched a piece of this metal, I was wearing safety gloves, and that includes when I went into the hardware store to purchase it. It will cut you like a serrated, like a bread knife, and it is not pleasant. It is not pleasant at all. So, all that scary stuff out of the way, I hope you enjoy the video, and hope you get something out of it, and I'll see you back next time, or I'll see you in a second in the video. Here we go. Good morning, it's Dave. How you doing? I'm trying to get a job done today that is a year in the postponing, procrastinating. I don't know, something like that. I could tell myself that it was all because of weather, but it's hard to believe that in a year there wasn't enough good weather to do this job. If you remember, if you've followed me along for a while, you may remember I had a video. One of my early ones wasn't that great. Hopefully they've gotten better, but anyway, it wasn't that great. And I was talking about how I had built the original coop, not the addition, but that I needed to get the roof on. So I'm going to turn you around here for a second. And you can see that it's a year later and the roof is not on. Well, the roof is on, but the shingles aren't on. So I laid down this felt fabric last year, and it's waterproof, and the coop's dry as a bone, but we need to get shingles on it, and we're really going to do that this fall here before the weather gets too bad. But the other thing we have is, this is a flat roof that extends 8 feet over the run, and you can see all I did was I nailed down plywood with roofing nails and never did anything else. Well, I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, there's a seam there, then there's another seam over there, and it leaks. And okay, so the flat roof runs to the edge of the peak of the coop, which is like a lean-to shed, and it's settled. And so what happens is the water hits the roof, it runs this way, and then it pours through this gap right here. So we got to fix all that. And this is not going to be a one-day job, but we're going to do little snippets, and then you'll see this video when I've got it completed and all done. So one of the first things we're going to do is, in order to make I want the water to run to that side where the tractor is and all the materials are. I'm going to put a gutter there and a downspout and actually collect the water so that I can use it at least partially, either back here for washing or for the chickens drinking water and that sort of thing, at least when it's not frozen, when it's not cold, about 3 months of the year. So what we need to do is, on this edge, as we run right along there, we're going to put a weather treated, well, first, I'm sorry, see that bundle right there? That's more of this cloth. We're going to cover the whole thing in cloth, the whole flat roof. Right here on this edge, we're going to put a pressure treated 2x4 that runs the length of it. And then on each of these seams, we're going to put pressure treated decking, which is not quite as thick, a 2x4. So what's the 2 on a 2x4? 1.5 inches, something like that. And then the decking is just barely an inch, just slightly like 1.25 inches. What that will do is, then we're going to take, see that metal? Those are metal roofing sheets, and we're going to lay those this way, and having it slightly higher on this end, we'll let it run all the way over. Those boards in between, they will help cover these seams just in case there's ever a leak, but they will also help provide structure, because underneath this, so for every, see where every row of roofing nails is? There's one row. There's, where is it? There's the next row. On over, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 2x6s under here, holding this flat roof up every 16 inches. And by laying those decking boards across like this, we'll be able to tie that in all the way. And I'll show you the underneath also. So I'm going to get started, and I will we'll start doing clips of this, and you may find me wearing different clothes on different days and all that good stuff, but we're going to get it done, and we'll show you what it looks like when we're complete. Thanks. Okay, here we are quickly, just to show you under the run, the flat roof on the run. I'm now standing in the run. I'm underneath the roof. You see my joists there are all good, but my plywood, I'm already getting some water damage, and we're getting some issues. So that's why we're going to cover it with some tin roofing, metal, sheet metal, whatever they call it, galvanized, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to do that and then later put a gutter on it. And we're going to collect rainwater and we're going to protect our roof better. So you can see it's definitely got some discoloration and it's definitely got some water damage. Talk to you in a bit. All right, we've got the cloth down, the felt down almost totally. It's got a few wrinkles in it, but I think I'm doing pretty good. I'm working by myself and it's about a 15 or 20 mile an hour wind, gusting probably over 30 right now. So we have some issues when you try to lay this piece of paper out and the wind's blowing 25 or 30 miles an hour. What I wanted to show you was though, so we started at that end because the water had shown the tendency to flow that way when it was rained on. And so by starting with this as the lowest piece of felt, and then here's right where the edge is. This is the next piece. So you see how that overlaps like that? Any water that gets underneath the metal roofing, when I get that on, will flow like this, and it can't flow backwards up under this lip. We've got this lip there's an overlap here of probably about 6 or 8 inches. And so any water that does happen to get under here, if any water, there may be no water ever gets under here. That'd be awesome. That might mean I actually did it right. That would be exciting. But anyway, you can see this lip makes the water flow across. It will flow right to that gap I told you earlier. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I really don't know what I'm gonna do about that gap, but I gotta figure it out. In any event, we're gonna keep trucking. And oh, the other thing is this is the new felt here. See the letters? I'm not endorsing any kind of felt, by the way. This is all leftover material when we had our house, new roof put on our house, which it needed it desperately about 2 years ago. There's the felt though. Look how faded that is. That's been exposed to the elements for a year. So obviously we need to get that covered up, and that will get covered up with the same shingles that I have left over from when my house was roofed. So that's pretty exciting that we may very well get to use to completely do this project. Really, it's already paid for. We paid for it, yes, it wasn't free, but it's no additional cost. So, all right, we've got one more strip here to cover this last piece of roof. And then, if you see those pieces of board, see if I can get them. There we go. They're peeking up over the edge there. Those are my decking boards that are going to go across. Well, that's kind of trippy. That are going to go across here, hold the paper down, and provide a foundation for the metal roof when I put the metal roof on. Okay, back to work. Okay, the underlying pressure treated wood, the felt's on, felt's done. The underlying pressure treated wood is now laid out. I still have to screw it in. And so what we have here is on the end, that is away from where I want the water to flow. So the high end is a 2x4. All 3 of the pieces of these wood are pressure treated. Not rated for ground contact, but all pressure treated. That's pressure treated 2x4. Each of the next 2 are pressure treated decking. So we've got that running across here, the width of the roof, and then on the first seam, which is 4 feet, and then the next seam is 4 feet. We have 2 more boards. Now on the end, we're not going to have any board because we want that to be lower, so that it'll run, the water will run towards the gutters, which will eventually be right there where the tractor is holding up the metal roofing. So still have to screw these in. However, I just wanted to show them to you. The felt, the boards may look, you may look at that and go, Dave, your boards are crooked. I don't know how well that's going to show. The boards are actually not crooked. The felt is slightly crooked. And so when you look at that, you know, that graphing on the hexes on the felt, because the felt is not exactly square. I got it close, but not quite exact. but because of that, it makes the board look crooked. However, the boards are lined up over the seams, which I checked on each of the ends. And so we're going to screw these into place, and I'm pretty excited because it looks like we're going to, weather's holding out. It's just chilly and windy, but see that? Yeah, we got blue skies. I may actually get this all done and complete today. That'll be a huge one I've been procrastinating that would come to fruition. That'll be nice. Okay, gonna screw the wood down. Then we're gonna start pulling out the metal sheets and laying those out. All right, we're back here. We're still putting on the roof. You can see the bees in the background. That's the next thing I gotta get to that never seems to be an end when you're trying to do stuff on your own, but be that as it may. Okay, so I told you I was going to put a 2x4 on the end, then I was going to use these deck boards. I'm sitting on the end where the water should be flowing from that end towards me. What I found out was, as I kept eyeballing it, and it looked really level, where it's not supposed to be, that end's supposed to be higher, is that apparently this thing has settled quite a bit in the year since I built it. And that end, it was almost, with that end having a 2x4 and these having, these are 1x pieces here, it was still almost perfectly even. So in the effort to be a real carpenter and somewhat of an adult, I went and got the level, looked it over, and realized that yeah, it was almost perfectly level. There was, the amount of incline on that end was so slight that I was concerned that the water would not flow properly in the direction I wanted it. So in that interest, you can see right there, and you can't see it as well, but there is one in the middle. I put several, I got some, found some scrap treated wood, cut it to length, and I've put some spacers in there under that 2x4. Now, that 2x4, as you can see from the bubble, hopefully, is plenty high. It's got plenty of run, and it needs it because it's got to run 12 feet down to this end where the gutters are and where the downspout will be and all that good stuff. Okay, so we're on to, I guess, laying out the metal sheets. Holy cow, this is really going by quick. All right, we put out one piece of metal here. Wanted to talk real quick about something that I neglected to mention earlier. So when I put these metal panels are 6 feet, I believe. 6 or 8 feet. 6, no, they must be 8 feet. Yeah, they're 8 feet. So when I use these deck boards, I use those purposely. They're much wider than you really would need to cover a crack between the two pieces of plywood. However, what they allow for is when I position them, then I have somewhere to screw the metal sheeting into. So as you can see now, we've got about 2.5 inches or so there of overlap. Then of course we can screw onto that one, and then down there we're going to screw right into the pieces, that the structure. The other thing is down there, we're not going to screw that in today because I in my senile dementia days, maybe 20 or 30 years ago, I would have remembered this. I forgot to get a piece of what's called drip trim, and drip trim will go underneath that metal piece and will keep the water from flowing. When it flows over the edge, some of it will run underneath. That drip trim will keep it from coming back up under and possibly causing some sort of water damage later. So what we do is, and I apologize, quite frankly, I'm scared of heights. So when I'm up here, I don't move around except for as much as I need to. However, on the end there, you can see, I can tell you, and you can see, I've let that overhang. It might be a little bit much, but I'm going to let it overhang a hair, and then that, whoops, and then that drip trim will fit right up underneath that, and then underneath that will go the gutter, which will catch the water and hopefully cause less hauling of water in 5-gallon buckets for me, at least in the non-freezing months, so I can you know, water my chicks. So the whole goal of this is, number one, to have the structure really maintain as long as possible, and quite frankly, number two, to make this process a little more self-sufficient without me without loads and loads of me with manpower. In fact, when you look over here, the rest of their run is open. It's covered. I've covered it in chicken wire just to keep out birds of prey, because we do have hawks here, especially in the summer or in the springtime. However, I may go ahead, those posts are 4 feet apart. I may go ahead and put several more posts in between and extend this roof another 8-foot section. That would give them much more covered run, which I'm thinking is probably better for them anyway. But that is another project, which I'm not starting any more projects right now until I complete what I've got half done. So okay, that's it. So yeah, the boards are measured so that there will be overlap, and then of course this board will go across here, the next board, and it'll actually go all the way down there and screw in. So there's a significant amount of overlap. I said board, I meant metal sheet. There's a significant amount of overlap with each metal sheet, so to provide some structure, number one, as much as possible, but also to keep that water from somehow getting back up under and then causing damage. All right, I'm still moving, so let's keep working, and I'll show you later. Well, we're done. The roof is on. It took me 2 more sheets than I thought, that I originally measured, so I had to run back to the hardware store and get 2 more sheets. But I've got nice overlap, you can see right here, which will help keep underneath from getting any kind of water damage, that sort of thing, and keep it from getting, you know, that I won't have to do this again, hopefully, in a while. The roof, I don't know if you can tell, I'm holding the camera pretty level. The roof does, let me get my hand, slope up like that as the water flows towards us. So for example, you see those seams right there? Those are seams. They are a little bit exposed. I can caulk those. I may come back and do that. But the water flowing over that will be coming towards us, and the water will not stop and turn around and flow back uphill. And where that seam is, where you're looking at those gaps, there's about 2 or 3 feet of overlap there between the panels. So in other words, this lower panel goes all the way 4 feet beyond that seam, and then the next panel lays over it. So we've got a huge amount of material there that is going to be keeping rainwater from getting to the underneath, to the plyboard. Overall, I'm very happy with it. I am not a great carpenter. I never have been. I never really had any experience with it, but I worked with it, looked at a few videos, and kind of went with what I thought would work. The only thing I have left here is I do need to put wow, I'm tired. It's been all day. A gutter and a downspout on this side. I'm going to switch you around, and I'm going to put my hand over the camera lens. If my hand weren't over the camera lens, you wouldn't know it was me. It's been a long day. It's been pretty steady up here on the roof. I hope that you stuck with me till the end here. I think it came out really well, and my chickens now have, my hens have really another 8 feet that kind of was just a sunshade before, because every time it rained, the water just poured right through the cracks, and the underneath was soupy, messy. And now they've got a true roofed in area. So the way my coop works is that the coop itself is up off the ground, so they have a 4x12 area there that stays covered and dry, and now they have another additional 12x8 area that, if I've done this right, will hopefully stay dry as well, other than what may come in through the sides if the wind's blowing. So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you maybe ideas. The sheet metal, I ended up needing 10 pieces. They were about $20 a piece, $21 a piece. So that was my biggest cost, $200. There was no way around that. I had nothing I could substitute. And then I had the couple of weather treated lumber that I used underneath as cross members to help support it. And I don't know, those were maybe another $20 at most, $22, $24 So I've got a roof on, and I have a piece of gutter from when they did the roof on my house that should do me. I might have to get some end caps for it, but all told, a whole new roof and metal sealed, the whole 9 yards, about $250. So if you're thinking about doing that kind of job, it's a day long. Does take some planning, but I think well worth it. So I hope I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and have a good one.